Hi guys, I'm Marley Silva and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, I'm going to be titling it, I don't know if I'm going to be titling it Death in My Family or Gusto, I Will Always Love You. But in this video, I'm going to be basically sharing the story of how our family cat passed away. I have already taken the time needed to process it, and I did make a video on my social media the night of, on my TikTok and my Snapchat explaining it, but life's just been moving very fast and I didn't really have time or want to sit down and film it for my YouTube channel. But now I feel like today is the day and I feel like I'm ready to talk about it. So, when was this? September, let me find when. So on my TikTok, it's showing 4 days ago, which I guess would make sense. It happened on Thursday of last week. Now that I think about it, everything's coming back to me. So Thursday of last week, it's literally hasn't even been a week, but Thursday of last week, I was having a good day. I left the office early. I came home. I had to go back to the office for like an hour meeting after, but I came home, you know, I was editing a video. It was actually a video with a drone shot of Gusto, which is my cat, my boy cat, chasing the camera, and I'll insert that footage right now. And he was literally chasing the drone, and it was just like such a funny shot to edit. And it was about 12:30, so I was getting ready to, like, you know, get ready to go back to work for an hour and then go see family. So, you know, I'm just like getting ready, whatever. I get a call from Michael, my brother. He calls me at like 12:40 and he's like, I think you need to come to the house. And I was like, okay, Michael, well, I can't come to the house. And he looked pretty serious, but I didn't think anything of it. And he's like, no, you need to come to the house. And I was like, okay, well, I can't come to the house. Like, I have a meeting for an hour. And then he's like, one of our neighbors, she came to our door. And I guess that she always sees our cats in the neighborhood and she's always seeing like everybody's houses and whatever. So she said, like, she came to the door and she was like banging on the door, going to the windows. Like, Michael wasn't answering. And she was like literally going like on the side of the house, front of the house. Like, she was trying to get his attention. So he finally came to the door. And Michael answered and she was like, there's a cat that looks like yours passed away on the trail. And Michael called me right after this had happened. So he was kind of like, I don't think it's him. There's no way it's him. Like, it can't be him. And in my head, I wasn't really thinking anything of it because, like, we've had this cat for half of me and my brother's lives. Like, we have had Gusto since we were like literally 10, maybe younger. Like literally 10 years old, and I'm 28 right now. Michael's 26. So we've had him for literally half of our lives. And we were just like, there's no way. Like, he wasn't giving off any signs, and there was no distinct factor that could have caused it. So we just assumed, we assumed the best. We literally did not assume the worst, which is amazing because, like, usually we're really quick to assume the worst. But Michael FaceTimed me. We were on FaceTime. He's like, I'm going to go take a look. I'm going to check it out, whatever. So Michael's FaceTiming me walking towards the trail. The trail is like literally 2 seconds from our house. And Michael's getting closer and closer. And he looks in the camera and he's like, yep, that's him. And I was like, what? And I was in shock at this point because, like I said, days prior, there was no indicators or red flags or anything that could have been like a determining factor or like the alchemist to like what could have caused it. So Michael's like, yeah, that's him. And Michael's face turns super red and he starts crying. And then I start crying, but I'm still fully in shock at this point. I haven't even digested it at all. And Michael flips the camera and shows me Gusto lying basically on the grass at the entrance of the trail. And at first he looked like he was sleeping, so I had a hard time like believing it. And then Michael was fully crying, sobbing, and I was like, okay, well, you need to get him. And then I was like, hey, bye. And then Michael hung up. I called my parents. My dad left the office. My mom left the office. Everyone was rushing to the house. I was in a full state of shock, and in my head I was like, okay, I'm still going to the meeting. I'm still going to go to the meeting. Like, it's just an hour. I'm still going to the meeting. Michael calls me back, and he got a towel, put it in a wheelbarrow, lifted Gusto's lifeless body, and then put Gusto in the wheelbarrow and covered him. At this point, me and my entire family are on like a group FaceTime. We're on a phone call. Everyone's crying. It's like a whole thing. It was like pretty traumatic and like crazy. And I'm driving to the office. So I get in my car. I'm driving to the office. I'm on my way to the office. At this point, I'm still like, I'm going to the meeting. There's no way. So I'm driving. I get a call from my boss and I'm crying on the phone because I was literally sobbing on the way to work, like hysterically. And she's like, Marley, what's going on? Are you okay? And I was like, he's gone. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? And I was like, Michael found him. He's dead. And I was sobbing and crying. And she's like, Marley, pull over. So I pull my car over and I'm on the side of the road, like literally like scream crying. Like usually I'll cry, but like this was like a whale cry. It was like, I don't even know if I'm going to insert that because that was disgusting to listen to. But it was like a whale cry. Like it was like whale noise and then like cry and then whale noise and then cry. And then there were certain times where I was like screaming and then crying and then screaming and then crying. It was just like a lot. And I was like, I'm still coming to the meeting. Like, it's fine. I'm still coming to the meeting. And she's like, Marley, you're not coming to the meeting. I can make it work without you. Like, go be with your family. So I was like, okay, I'm so sorry. She's like, you don't need to be sorry. Like, go be with your family. So I turned the car around and went immediately to my brother's. The minute I got in the driveway, me and Michael went inside. We had a shot of tequila. I was like, I can't see him like this. I can't deal with this. I literally cannot deal with this. Little backstory, Gusto is our boy cat. Gracie is the girl cat. The girls always gravitate towards the boys in the family and the boys always gravitate towards the girls. Gusto is literally like, he was everything to me. Like, he listened when I talked to him. He was always sweet to me. He was just so well trained and he was such a lover and he was like one of my favorite people. Like, he was a part of our family for half of our life. Like, he was family to me. And, you know, opening the door and seeing him sitting on the step and he wasn't there anymore. Like, it was just a lot. So me and Michael had a shot of tequila. The minute we had a shot of tequila, my dad pulls up in his car and we're all together. My mom's still on the way. She's a little bit of a further drive, but she's making her way as fast as she possibly can. So at this point, me and Michael made a martini. So we had a shot of tequila. We were with my dad in the yard processing it. We couldn't really face it at the beginning. So I made me and Michael a tequila martini with 4 olives. So we did like a shaken martini with 4 olives, literally straight tequila and olive juice. And we went outside. So we went outside. There was the wheelbarrow and Michael lifted the towel and it just became horrific, like horrific. Gusto looked the exact same as he does when he was sleeping. But, oh my God, Michael just texted in the group chat. Okay, perfect. I'm just filming a video. Love you. Is the neighbor coming to help? Question mark. Okay, I just need like a little water break. Ugh. We're going for a bike ride after this, so yeah. And we lift the towel and Gusto looks the exact same as if he's sleeping. Like, he literally looks the exact same, except for 1, he's obviously not breathing. 2, there was bugs around his eyes, which was heartbreaking. Seeing ants like in his eyes and around them was just absolutely heartbreaking. And when we would pet him, he was hard to the touch. So it was a lot. We closed the towel. My dad, my brother, and I sat on the deck at the patio set, and we were literally just, I was crying, and Michael and Dad were sitting there. Michael was bawling. My dad was motionless. My dad was literally just looking at the trees in the backyard, motionless. Keep in mind, my dad is literally up at 4 a.m. every single day, feeding the cats every single day, letting them out. Like, my dad was like the dad to the cats too. Like, he was literally like the dad to the cats. And Michael and Gusto grew so much closer in like the last 5 years. Like, Michael would sleep with Gusto every single night, and he would always sleep in his bed. Gusto loved Michael. Like, Gusto warmed up to Michael so much because Gusto was always like my cat. And so we were sitting there, me and Michael are drinking our martinis. At this point, my dad was like, I need to see where you found him. So we walked to the trail. Michael showed us on the trail. We found really weird metal circles by his, like where his body was. And obviously you could tell that it was like fresh because there was still like bugs and it was just a whole thing. We walked back, you know, it was a lot. And then my mother got there. So at this point, it's all of the family. Me and Michael are probably a quarter of the bottle done of the tequila. We've had like at least 2 martinis at this point. We ended up drinking the whole bottle of tequila. Crying, like uncontrollably crying. The worst type of pain ever. One of our neighbors came outside. His dog was barking so much. And he's like, is everything okay? And I was like, one of our cats is dead. Nothing's okay. And he literally grabbed the dog by the collar and brought him inside. And our other neighbors were outside and they could tell that someone died. Like it was a lot. My mom got there. We were all like together, and then we went and saw the cat. And literally as my parents, like, okay, so when my mom got there, we all went out to go see the spot. My mom, she found another metal ring that was on the trail that we didn't find. Like, she found the last metal ring that was next to his body. It was really strange. By the way, we don't think that he was hit by a car or murdered or eaten by an animal. Like, we don't think that. We think he actually just went there to have a peaceful death, because Michael actually, like, my mom's a nurse. Michael lifted his body in front of my mother and we checked it out and he looked fine. He looked like he might have potentially had a heart attack and passed away because he had blood in his mouth, but it wasn't, he looked peaceful. Like, he didn't look like he was in pain. He didn't look like he was disheveled. We showed my mom the spot. She found the extra metal ring. It's now on our fence. We put all the metal rings on the fence. And at this point, my parents needed a minute alone. So my parents were together alone. Me, my brother, Gusto was like just on the side of the deck in the wheelbarrow covered. And me and Michael went into the forest and we're like, we need to choose a burial spot. Like, we need to choose a spot where we're going to bury him. We need to choose a spot. So we go in the forest because we have a forest on the back of the house. We were walking in the forest, looking for a spot. Finally, we find the perfect spot in the sun. It was just such a beautiful spot in the forest. And it starts raining. It starts like sprinkling, whatever. And then it starts fully downpouring. It was like a sunny day. It starts fully downpouring. So we run out of the forest. We grab Gusto. We wheel him into the shed. And at this point, my parents are like, okay, we're not having the burial right now. We're not rushing anything. You know, we're going to sit as a family and talk and share memories. So we did. We sat for like hours and hours, and we would just be like around the house together and processing it, really. And a lot of crying. Like, when we were all saying our final goodbyes at the shed, Michael was literally on his knees, like crying and petting him, and we all kissed him. And they were saying like his fur was hard and everything. Oh, my leg's asleep. And it was like a huge thing. My dad started crying. My dad never cries. My mom literally said, she's like, I've never seen your dad cry. And my dad was crying. And everyone was like crying and sobbing and sharing like memories and emotions. It was like really heavy. And then once like all of that had passed, we were getting ready to do the burial. So me and Michael were like literally on our last drink at this point. Like, we had our last martini. The bottle of tequila was done. everyone's moods are like high. So we wheeled him into the forest, and it had stopped raining by this point, but we were thinking too, we're like, it wouldn't be Gusto without like perfect sun, nice day, pouring rain, pouring rain, pouring rain, light rain, sun shower, and then just nice out again. So we wheeled him into the forest and dug the hole. My brother and my dad dug the hole, and then we put him in, wrapped in the towel, and then my dad was like, hold on. And my dad went to the kitchen and got Gusto's food bowl and put it on his paw, and we buried him with the food bowl. And as me and Michael were putting the dirt on him, my dad started wailing, like literally wailing, like my dad was like beyond himself. And I think it was because we were like all private in the forest and like secluded, and it was like just a family moment, and it was really sad. I also do want to touch on this because I forgot to touch on it. Gracie, our girl cat. Oh my God, my brother and my dad are like going off in the chat. I do want to touch on this. So Gracie, our girl cat, she was acting weird since the morning. My dad said, I let the cats out at 6. You know, they had already eaten. Gracie came back quite short. Like, okay, so my dad let the cats out. My dad said that he heard a yelp. That's what he said, like a yelp or like a cry out. And then it went silent, and Gracie came back to the house right away, and Gusto did not come back. So my dad doesn't know if that's what he heard when he was hearing it later, like earlier. And then Gracie was acting weird all day, and she was just like acting super, super strange. And when we were saying our final goodbyes, she actually walked up to the wheelbarrow, put both her paws on the top, looked at Gusto, and then bolted. Like she literally looked at him and then ran away so fast. She was like bolting away. So we knew that she knew what was going on, of course. And when we were doing the burial, me and Mike were putting the dirt. Gracie actually, when we like wheeled Gusto in and they started to dig, she was sitting by the bird feeder, literally at the middle of the trail, just sitting there watching us. And then once me and Michael started putting the dirt on him, she made her way through the trail, went over on the other side, and was sitting on a broken tree and watching it. She was watching the funeral with us. So you could tell it was a family moment. Like, she knew what was going on. We knew what was going on. It was a collective moment. And me and Michael put the dirt on, and then once the dirt was done, we patted it down. We dug probably like really deep. And then me and Michael put like sticks all around the circle, and then my mom made a cross out of a stick. And then I started breaking trees and like putting them in so it looked like it was like alive and stuff. And we made them like a little section, and it was extremely emotional. Like there was so much crying, and by the end of the night, all of us were exhausted. And my mom was like, I need to go home. She wanted to leave, and she went to the bathroom. And I don't know if I want to tell this part. Oh my God, I can't believe I almost just told this part. I don't think I'm going to share this part. Well, I'll share like a little bit of it. So long story short, we had McDonald's with the family and just like comfort food. And then after that, my mom had left on Saturday night, and then she was back on Saturday, and we watched family football together. And I think that's what kind of like helped all of us heal, was like Thursday was a really, really painful day of like death, funeral, processing. Like it was such a hard day. And then literally Friday we all took to ourselves, and like obviously like I did like a couple hours at work, and then I would start crying like crazy, and I went home. I wanted to be with family. I was like, I can't deal with this. Oh, my leg's fully asleep. Okay, wait, hold on. And then yeah, so I went home. And then Saturday was family football, and it was the starter for the hockey. So it was like football and hockey that night. So we watched that as a family, and our quarterback actually got 2 touchdowns, and it was his first touchdowns of the season. So it was kind of just like bittersweet that like we won the game. Our family was together. We were like all just celebrating football, and we processed the funeral like the day before that. So yeah, it's been a lot. Like obviously not seeing him at the house, and he's not sitting in his spots anymore, and he's not running and going crazy for food and all over the place. So it is very bittersweet, but it also gives me peace knowing that me and my family got to spend such a beautiful day celebrating him and burying him. And I think I needed that closure with my family to put him to rest in a way where, like, I don't feel sad, I don't feel agony, I don't feel pain, I feel peace, and I feel happy that we took care of him and gave him the respect and the decency he deserved. Also, the fact that the neighbor came to the door and was going all over the windows and trying to get someone to come to the door and reported him to us that he had passed away is major, because if she hadn't done that, we don't know if we would have ever found him. We don't know if we would have ever known what happened to him. We don't know if we would have ever gotten to bury him. So literally, what's the saying? It's like the kindness in strangers. It's so wild that, like, that was God being like, we're going to put the neighbor in this line of sight first. She's going to report it to you guys, and then you're going to process as a family. So there was so many moments during that day where it just, like, reminded me that God is real, and reminded me of, you can feel God in this moment, and reminded me that, like, this is God's work, and you could not have, like, felt or seen or felt this way from anyone but God. And it was crazy. And yeah, I wanted to share that as, like, a time capsule. I wanted to get it off my chest. I told my brother the day of I was going to film a video on it, and he's like, Marley, it just happened. And I said to him, I'm like, this is how I process things. I talk to my camera and I get it out. That is me processing things. I don't go to therapy. I don't like therapy. When my grandma passed, I did the exact same thing. I sat in front of the camera with all of the stuff that she had given me when she had passed, my mom gave me. And I filmed a video about it, because that was my way of getting it out. That was my way of sharing it and letting it out. Because if you hold it in and you don't get it out, sometimes it can fester and manifest in weird ways. And I'm one to talk about my problems. I'm not one to bottle them in. And I've always been like that. You guys will know that about me, and everybody knows that about me. So yeah, I just wanted to share this and kind of, yeah, really just, like, go through that and share it. So we only have one cat now, and Gusto is at rest. So yeah, I just thought I would share that. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.